So tonight's check-in is Monday. It's the 14th of December. This is our typical group check-in, but due to illness, work commitments, children and other things, we have a very intimate group. So Emily, as always, we can't really get away from the fact that you have an amazing accent and you're coming in from the States. And Jane, you're coming in from Windsor in the UK. And I'm here to guide, coach and give you a little bit of an education. So first of all, I just want to praise Emily for the most amazing progression photos that I have just received. This is what makes my job really fulfilling, and I get, you know, some weeks are hard, some weeks are like any job, it's a long slog, and today has been one of them long days. It's been a massive check-in day, and as I transitioned from being a solo coach to bringing in an assistant coach, obviously I'm juggling all the balls by myself until I progress next year. So when you get these little treats of a client check-in and you see these amazing progress photos, which is testament to the dedication and the time that someone has invested into themselves, it makes what I do on days like this feel worthwhile. And with her permission, I'm sure she will allow me at some point to share what she has achieved. But Emily, in 3 weeks, has completely turned her body around. I cannot believe, I'm so thrilled with what you've done. So well done, and thank you for putting your trust in me. You've been here, a really amazing student. As Jane, you know, always on the ball, always at the check-ins, always tracking. Although we've been let down on the technical side a little bit over the last 3 weeks, we've sailed through, and out comes like a butterfly from a chrysalis. It's just, it really is amazing how you've changed your body, Emily, and I'd love to share that. So a massive thank you for putting your trust in me and for following what I've been teaching. Have you got any questions in terms of anything that we've been working towards over the last few weeks together? Have you been finding anything difficult, or have you any struggles at all?
I think the program is pretty straightforward. I need to spend more time like researching like how everything integrates between the MyFitness and your app. I think that's my biggest struggle, is the technology part of it.
That's not your fault. That's a technical issue with the app at the moment, and I'm actually already addressing that. So there will be a migration phase from this technology to a new platform, new software, and that's going to be a relief for me and a relief for everybody. So it's going to make life a lot easier, especially for me as a remote coach. So that's nothing that you've struggled with personally. That is technical issues. In terms of your goal at the moment, the goal initially was to lose some weight. Would you say the goal's changed now, or are we still on track?
I think the goal's definitely changed. Like before, I wanted to lose a few pounds, but mostly I knew that it's not so much a number for me in terms of weight. It's more of how I feel in my body, in my clothes, and
amazing.
So for me, it's more of toning.
Yeah, and I think this is the same for a lot of people. Like they come at this with an initial goal, and I've been coaching and teaching all day today. And one analogy that I had, which I'd like to share with you, is an imaginary train or steam engine or whatever you call it, and it's on a track and it is literally heading this way forwards. There's only one way the track goes from present moment until the goal, the end in sight. Now, a lot of people in terms of coaching, all I'm here to do is re-rail that train. So as you deviate, you come on, you come off that track. It's just a case of keeping you on the straight and narrow until you reach that goal. Now, once you reach that goal, a new goal presents itself. And in terms of what you have achieved at the moment, you are really winning with your weight loss. It's clicked. You know what to do. You've juggled the kids, you've juggled working in the hospital, you know, family life, everything else that as a mum we have to sort of deal with, and you've still managed to find a place to fit you into that week. So that's something that I haven't worked with you on, but most clients I will spend time with on that sort of journey, trying to find a rhythm in the week. You've done it anyway. Now you've met that goal, we're now looking at a new goal. And in terms of what you want to do in sculpting and shape change, you've got more energy, more ability, more understanding. Now would be the next step of education on the nutrition side of things, establishing that we need to focus a little bit more on every aspect of your food and not just your protein, which is something Jane and I have just started working on at week 6. So she starts week 6 today. So the new goal is to start learning new features in terms of what is capable in terms of nutrition to feed your body to change its shape. And it's really exciting because you can continue to carry on losing your weight, but now the focus would be on really changing the structure of your body through growing some muscle, creating some definition. And this really rolls into the topic I want to give some training on this evening, which is the importance of protein. And this, at this point in your journey, ties in perfectly well. And the same for Jane as well. And the same for anybody. You know, this aspect doesn't even mean it's super important just because you're losing weight. Protein is important no matter what. So goal-wise, I'm really pleased that you've got a new focus. Would you say, in terms of the new goal, that you feel the training needs to change? Or do you feel that the training's spot on for what your goal is at the moment?
I feel like the training honestly is working. I need to get better at, like, there's some things that I can definitely improve when I'm not training, just to like make sure I absolutely get my steps in. Sometimes it's a challenge if I'm home with the kids and can't walk them outside and whatever. But I think that so far so good. At least, I don't know, another few weeks on this, then I think maybe I'd mix it up a little bit, but it seems to be going well. No,
absolutely. And, you know, in terms of cardio and things like that, once you get to a certain level, it becomes less essential. A lot of people enjoy their cardio for the mental side of things, you know, to give yourself that release, that rush of endorphins, which you can get from any form of training. But in my eyes, it's important to obviously train the biggest muscle in the body, which is your heart, through your cardio. But in terms of what your next goal is, the fat loss is now getting to the point where weight training itself can continue to assist in reducing your fat from your body whilst training and building muscle at the same time. With cardio, it only speeds up the process. Any form of additional activity in a calorie deficit or even maintenance will only speed up the process. But when you get to a certain point, you can, you know, put cardio to one side and really start focusing on your weight training from here on in, and scheduling at least three to 4 sessions a week. You don't have to go long sessions, around 30 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on the area of the body that you're training. Legs might be a bit longer, obviously, bigger muscle group. So things can really start changing for you, and that might fit better in your busy schedule, having the ability to train less, just focus on your food, and then still hit those goals. And a lot of the groundwork you've already done. So it's an amazing feat to have got to that position. So hopefully it makes it clear that now you're on a roll. Awesome.
Definitely.
So I'm going to go into protein. I think it's really important that we cover, and I really want to start delivering as much information as I can to those of you who have been with me for around 4 or 5 weeks, because we've done the first month together. We've drip fed, you know, we've started to really get a routine and a rhythm going in. And at this point now we start moving up again, going into the next level, and start getting some real good topics taught to you all. So I've got about 9 points on protein I'd like to share with everybody. And obviously, we've got some members who aren't too well, who can watch this on the replay. This will also be posted to the main Facebook group because I'm sharing one of these check-ins per month to the outside world so they can get some benefit too and see how we work. So the importance of protein, we've all been eating it, we all know what it is, and we all know roughly where it comes from, but there are a few things that really could do with being addressed. So first point I want to make about protein is some of you may have already experienced this, but it really helps to reduce your appetite and your hunger levels. And obviously, Emily, you're nodding because you found that to be the case. Jane is a vegetarian, and so we are obviously working on finding alternative places to get our protein from, which is really quite exciting because it opens up your menu, as it were, when you have to look harder. And in terms of vegans and vegetarians, yes, they do have to look a little bit harder to find the source of protein, which also doesn't come with any additional other macros in it, like carbs, which unfortunately in Jane's situation, we're looking at beans and pulses and also your yogurt. So you're not vegan, but you know, you can go for some animal sources in terms of dairy. So the three macronutrients, we've got the fats, the carbs and the protein. They affect your body all in different ways, as you know. Protein is by far the most filling. It helps you feel more full, but with less food, which is really, really super important, because eating one macronutrient alone, if you're on the go and needing a snack, you want something that's going to fill you up without giving you excess calories, just to get you through to that next meal. So this is partly because protein reduces your level of the hunger hormone, ghrelin. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Always reminds me of the word gremlin, like a little gremlin inside your body that's trying to say, oh, I'm hungry, feed me. It's like a little gremlin. It's that hunger hormone, ghrelin. It also boosts the level of peptide, which is a hormone that makes you feel nice and full. So these effects on appetite can be super powerful, as we've all found in our day-to-day diets. It is super helpful. And sometimes when you think you're hungry for your next meal, you probably haven't eaten enough protein at the start of the day. So making sure, if I've given you a protein goal of, say, let's 90 grams, break that up and divide that by 4, do the maths because I'm not very good at maths, around 26 grams per serving, something like that, instead of going, right, let's save our proteins all for the end of the day, and it becomes super overwhelming. That's one of the main things. So summary on that: a high protein diet reduces hunger, it helps you eat fewer calories because there's only 4 calories per gram of protein, there's 4 calories per gram of carbs, but there's 9 calories per gram of fats. So obviously it's one of the lower calories, and this is caused by improved function of weight regulating hormones, which is why it helps you to lose weight. So point number 2 on protein: it increases your muscle mass and strength. So directly at you, both of you ladies now, this is where it's really becoming super important. To increase muscle mass and strength, you need to keep on top of your proteins. Now, you are probably both programmed to about 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So you're slightly on the higher level. So I've got you nice and high anyway. You could take it up to 2 grams per pound of body weight if you wanted to. And if you did, it wouldn't affect things too much. It would just mean that you've got more protein in your system, which will only aid in producing more muscle and obviously aiding in your strength. So therefore, eating adequate amounts of protein helps maintain your muscle mass, promotes muscle growth when you do your strength training. So in summary, muscle is made primarily of protein. High protein intake can help you gain muscle mass and strength while reducing muscle loss during weight loss. So obviously not directed at either of you, but at a time when you were in a calorie deficit, and some of you are still slightly in them, it helps to reduce any muscular loss. So that's a really important thing, because you're going to be working and working and working in that gym to change that body shape. But if you're not hitting those protein targets, it's all going to be a waste of time. And this is where we can get a bit deflated with the progress. And especially in terms of building muscle, it takes 5 to 6 weeks to actually really start to see that coming on. So make sure you're fueling yourself to maintain it. It's good for bones, obviously, point number 3. An ongoing myth is the idea that protein, mainly animal protein, is bad for your bones. Won't go into that, but it's, absolutely, there's nothing wrong with eating protein for your bones whatsoever. People who eat more protein tend to maintain bone mass better as they age, which is super important because it gives them a lower risk of osteoporosis and fractures, especially for women when you go through the menopause. And osteoporosis is something which can affect a lot of women going through that. It's really important because eating plenty of protein and staying active is a good way to help prevent that from happening. So in summary, eat more protein and you'll tend to have better bone health and a much lower risk of osteoporosis and fractures as you get older. Talking about that, there is such a thing as we get older called sarcopenia. It's degeneration of the muscle. You may have heard of it. It starts happening from the 30s and it slowly happens. Hit the ground running now, build your structures up, get your nutrition on key point, and you will obviously be able to slow that process down and even combat it. Whereas a lot of older people, you see very slight, very skinny, not much muscle tone, body composition is mainly a low end of the fat scale, because as we get older, we tend to lose our volume quite a lot. But if you are prone to putting on weight and are predominantly fat over lean tissue, that's when all the problems start to happen and the health benefits. And I can honestly say, when I see, you ever see those old ladies and the grannies in the gym weightlifting? I just think that's amazing. They live longer, and it's all down to people not understanding the true benefits of protein. It's so, so important. I won't really go into number 4. It reduces cravings and desire for late night snacking. If you're full up throughout the day, if you've had a good balance, likelihood is you're not going to snack come the evening. And if you're not going to snack come the evening, the long-term effects are going to be weight loss over time. Sometimes just by eating more protein, not even following a diet, not even doing any training, 60% of people on a study had actually lost weight just by increasing their protein by 30% and doing nothing else. So that is actually a really, really good point to take home. So in summary, eating more protein may reduce your cravings and desire for late night snacking. Merely a high protein breakfast may even have a powerful effect just to set you up for the rest of the day. A few more points on protein, because I really want to drum it into you of the importance of this. And it's really good to know and understand, why we're doing it. It's easy to say, oh, just have a protein, scoop a protein shake, and disregard the reasons for why you're doing it. But boosting your metabolism and increasing your fat burning, there's another key factor there in terms of increasing your protein. Eating can boost your metabolism for a short while. It is absolute nonsense when people say that their metabolism has stopped. Okay? If your metabolism had stopped, you would be dead. I just have to get that point across. But boosting your metabolism in terms of eating more protein comes around due to the fact of the thermic effect of food, and that basically it takes longer for the body to break protein down, which is why it's a satiety food. It keeps you satisfied longer because it takes longer for the body to break it down, meaning it boosts your metabolism and increases fat burning potential. So again, if anyone says to you that their metabolism has stopped, tell them that they're absolutely talking nonsense, because again, you'd be dead. Summary to this, high protein intake may boost your metabolism significantly, helping you burn more calories throughout the day. And again, going back to that study of people that had literally just added it into 30% more into their diet meant that they did really nothing to achieve their weight loss. Some people work so hard in the gym, but they don't understand their nutrition, and all of that hard work is just literally going to waste. If they just changed up a few extra things, things would happen a lot faster for them. Okay, I think we have got 4 points left on protein before we wrap up for the evening. Lowering of blood pressure, there's one. Another one is helps to maintain your weight loss. Again, because of high protein diet, it boosts the metabolism, as we've already established, and leads to an automatic reduction in calorie intake and cravings, which we've already established. And it also has benefits for fat loss during intentional calorie reduction. So upping your protein intake can not only help you lose weight, but keep it off long term. The easy thing to do is get to this point where we have achieved all the goals, but then revert back to where we were originally. And that would be thinking that, okay, I've reached my goal weight now I'll just step off the gas a little bit, I don't have to keep up with my nutrition. But then what happens? By not eating enough protein, they literally simply aren't full enough, and they're not, they're still looking for other things to fill them up. And in terms of that, in your case, working long shifts in hospitals, and I can see you're tired, Emily, you'll go for the wrong snack, okay? And you'll go and get something just to get you through to the end of your shift. Then you've got to go home and deal with the kids. And the point is planning out that food and realizing to treat yourself like a baby. When we were born, our anatomy hasn't changed from that day we were born to now. We just got bigger. We always treat babies, we feed them consistently. We make sure they've got enough protein. Why do we do it? Because it's so important. And then we go and neglect ourselves and wonder why our bodies fall out of line. And it's a bit of a shock. One day we look down and go, oh, how did that happen? Shit, I've now got to fix that. And that could take a little bit of time and a lot of hard work unless I really know my protein game. And simple shifts in protein can really help. Last 2 points. This is a good one, especially fatigue, tiredness, and injury. Protein helps your body repair itself. Without it, I always say it's the building block of life. Protein can help your body repair after it's been injured. You probably obviously know all about this, Emily, in your profession, and the reasons why people on low protein diets really struggle with their health in general. It makes perfect sense, as it forms the main building blocks of your tissues and all of your organs, and numerous studies demonstrate that eating more protein after injury can help speed up the recovery process. Last one for tonight, and then I will let you all go and have a nice restful Monday evening. Number 9, it helps you stay fit as you age. And we can already see, without going into that topic, how and why. We talked about muscle degeneration, sarcopenia. We talked about body composition, fat v, lean tissue. As we get older, it's more and more apparent that people that do not exercise are, in some cases, skinny fat. We've all heard that term, and I like to use it a lot because there's a lot of people out there that don't look overweight, but their body composition is totally off. So one of the consequences of aging is that your muscles gradually weaken over time, so gradual that you don't even notice it. And the most severe cases are referred to as age-related sarcopenia, which is one of the main causes of frailty, bone fractures, and reduced quality of life among older adults. And I was outside the supermarket the other day, and it was just heartbreaking, but there was an old gentleman outside, and it was slippery, and he just fell, and you had this massive thud. And it happens a lot of the time, and that's where the bone breakages happen, because the body isn't strong enough to support itself. And it's so horrible to see the elderly get frail. And this is one thing that was really crossing my mind. In terms of protein, it's not cheap. Okay, meat isn't cheap, protein products and supplements. And I think there should be something done for the elderly to help them be able to source more protein for themselves as part of a care package, as you know, what the government would supply. And I think that would help a lot of elderly people overcome fractures, overcome being able to repair themselves and things like that, you know. And you know, if we're fortunate enough to have that kind of food and be able to finance that, I mean, it's not expensive to us, but you know, when you're old and you're on your own, it was just something that popped up in my head today, and I just thought, wouldn't it be better to help in that way in terms of proper nutrition for the elderly? So last but not least, cap it off, the bottom line is, even though a higher protein intake can have health benefits for many people, it's not necessary for everyone. It all depends on your age, you know, what your goals are, what you're trying to achieve. You know, a smaller person via a bigger person obviously wouldn't need so much protein. It's all about your weight more than anything. So most people already eat around 15% of their calories from protein, which is more than enough to prevent a deficiency. But in some cases, people can still benefit from eating a bit more, up to 25 to 30% of calories added into their diet. So that's my topic on protein tonight. Bit of a long one, but the 9 points there are really worth considering for all of us at any age. And in terms of your goal, Emily, and then staying on track and making sure you don't revert back to obviously wiping all this hard work out. The last thing I would want to see is, you know, coming out to Florida and you'd be like, oh, you know, I've reverted.
It's not going to happen. Don't worry. I think it's just like, I've enjoyed the weight training a lot. It's something nice to add in. So I think that's made a huge difference.
Yeah.
My diet I've been tracking it, but it hasn't changed like crazy because I was always high protein, low carb. Oh, put that down. my son is playing with my weight.
Bless him.
So, except that he's 5 and shouldn't be lifting that.
Well, they do though. Mine's 4 and she's already at it. Bless her. But
Yes.
Going back to what the next stage would be in terms of meeting that goal, we would want to focus now on your carbs, now on your fat, and also on your protein as well. So the whole package. Exactly. So I'll let you tend to your little boy.
Just woke up, so.
Oh, bless him. It's very late here in the evening. It's 8:30, so I've got my bedtime routine to do with the kids now.
Yes.
So yes. I'm really super happy. I'm really happy. Jane, are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's really, I find it all interesting, the whole protein thing, because I never, it was just never part of my nutrition. I knew I had to have it, but I'm looking at the amount of protein I'm eating now. I was eating absolutely nothing 5-6 weeks ago.
Yeah, and can you imagine if you had continued down that path?
Yeah,
another 10 years.
Yes.
I know last week it might have been a little bit daunting for me to say, right, come on, Jane, let's get some more weights. Come on, let's grow the glutes. And it might be a little bit scary for you, but it's only in your best interest.
In my interest. Yeah. And I get that. It's now looking, I can see the point in it all now.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Emily, you need to shoot because I'm going to wrap this up now anyway because I've only got a few minutes left. Jane, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It
Pleasure.
would be very lonely check-in if you hadn't.
What am I going to do on a Monday night?
You're always very welcome on my group check-in. I can always guarantee you'll be there for us to support the team. And your input is always so gratefully received, Jane, and and your drive as well. So thank you for everything. And
Pleasure.
You too. We've all seen your transformation, but you two have done so well this last 5 weeks with me. So girls, have a lovely evening. Emily,
thank you.
Catch up in the week, or give me a shout tomorrow if you want to chat about continuing to work together. And Jane, I will continue spying on you from the background.
I'm sure you will.
Right then, have a lovely evening.
Okay, will do.
Bye.
See you night.